Hi there, this is in review of November the 29th, and I just wanted to explain why I've been missing for a while, although I really enjoy doing these daily thoughtfulnesses. My life has been a little bit complicated, as you know. One of the things that I've been dealing with is somebody else's mental health, which has had an impression on my mental health because I've been having to deal with it. I've done a really good job in the past week and a half avoiding her, but I did, in fact, go buy this pepper spray, which I've been thinking, like, she wears these big Jackie O glasses, so how would I get her? But apparently this sprays out some orange dye as well, so hopefully it'll cover her glasses and I'll be able to get away. Also, another friend of mine told me that he bought one of these and he used it in Fort Lauderdale, and some bikers came over to his car and they were going to beat him up, and he pulled it out and he sprayed it, and this little thing went. So I'm a little nervous that might happen when I most need it, so I'm thinking that maybe I'll do a little test spray later on today. Yeah, the whole thing is just very odd. You know, the police are asking me to fight her. Meanwhile, she's a person without physical and mental barriers or borders. So if she's insane, it doesn't make sense that I fight her. I'm not going to deter her or show her that I'm not a victim. She's just going to go ballistic. So I'm a little nervous about that. The other thing is, you know, this really is a sexist environment, and I'd love to get into the whole feminist issue. But I live in a very sexist environment, and I can tell you one thing for sure. If she was a man and she was walking around the street all day swinging around her big black penis, she wouldn't last a day here. Not a day. But she's been here for 15 years, and the police really enjoy watching her flash at least 100 times a day on the street. She walks around basically nude. So it's very entertaining for men. I'm not the only person that she is attacking, so hopefully we'll get to the bottom of this before I get beaten up. So, I've mentioned before as well that I am not spiritual, and I've been reading these to you because they've been very positive influence in my life. I like the tie that I have to my sister when I read them. I like to fill my mind with these kinds of thoughts once a day. I find it's healthy, and like as in looking at a beautiful painting, it gives me a beautiful feeling. However, I don't feel that I'm reading truth. I am reading a piece of artwork. And I wanted, because another reason I haven't been making videos is I had a problem with my old computer. So I'm waiting for a new computer. So this camera only gives me basically 15 minutes of record time. So I didn't feel like I was able to do my readings and also explain where I'm finding inconsistencies and incorrect ideals. I was hoping other people might bring that to the table, and I just find that there's some things that are not being considered in these ideas. So with that said, I'm going to go forward and read November 29. Dismount your donkey at the summit. Some places in the world are very hard to climb. And when places are hard to climb, sometimes people use animals. Each person can only ride one animal, and each animal has a different name. The riders go up the trail in different orders, and going up the trail, they discuss their various opinions about their experiences. They might even have conflicting opinions. And I find, as a side note, that very odd, because it's a way to look at it. Obviously, this is looking half empty. Maybe you're open to hearing another person's opinion that's different of what they're experiencing, but it doesn't necessarily have to conflict with yours unless you're feeling conflictive, unless you feel like insecure in your own experiences, that you feel conflict hearing somebody else's experiences. Really, when you hear somebody's opinion or experiences, you should just realize it's different from yours and not concentrate so much on the conflicting nature of it. One traveler might think the trip going up the mountain is totally thrilling, and the other might find it absolutely terrifying, and maybe the third just thinks it's boring. Which is true because everybody's life experiences will bring them to a different point of their own interpretation and conclusion. At the summit, all the travelers stand in the same place, and each of them have the same chance to view this beautiful vista. The poor donkeys, they're put aside to rest and to graze because they're just not needed anymore. We all travel this path. The donkeys, they represent various indoctrinations that each of us can embrace. What does it matter what indoctrine we embrace as long as it leads us to the summit? Your donkey might be a Zen donkey, and my donkey might be a Tao donkey. There's lots of other kinds of donkeys, like there are Christian, Islamic, Jewish, even agnostic donkeys. Aren't you riding a donkey yourself? We should put aside our donkey and our in-term experiences once we reach this summit. Whether we climb that mountain in suffering or in joy, it's really immaterial as long as we reach the top, as long as we are there. Religions have different names and different ways of getting to the holy summit. Once we reach the summit, we no longer need names, and we can experience all things directly. Now, that's a beautiful sentiment. I really love it. It's like a painting. It's gorgeous. But there is no summit. There is no top that everybody is needing to reach, to understand, to become profound, to have great knowledge, to gain wisdom. There is no top. This is a religious idea that from the top is all the knowledge and everything comes down from there. This is not natural. What is natural is we start from the minimal amount of information and we go out like tree branches, becoming more complex and more knowledgeable. So there is no absolute summit that we can all reach. So in that's wrong. And as far as getting to this point of knowledge that we should all be at, if we take a root of joy and we take a root of sorrow, by the time we get to that summit, we're going to have a very different interpretation of the vista that we're looking at. So I think it's very important, the indoctrination or the idea or the philosophy or to understand human psychology, any of the above, as we're climbing to the top of this mountain of knowledge, it's very important that the information that we're gaining is correct and not a fable and not a fake and not an institution of power. It is necessary that as we're gaining this information in order to reach the top, that this information is sound and it's good and it's correct and it has to do with knowledge that we've gained, and it has to do with kindness and compassion and understanding. So these are the things that we're going to find in our life to enable to us to reach this, where we can look and see this beautiful vista of knowledge and have full understanding of what we're seeing. So that was the first part of November the 29th, and this is the second part. I probably have less issues with it. The actual is only actual in one place and at one time. When one listens to a barking dog, one might imagine emotion, pain, reaction, and anxiety, and self-identification. But actually, there's nothing there. Just the sound from a long and deep corridor, channeled out of nothingness and fading into nothingness again. That sounds nice and hollow. I know because I give it meaning, and my dog gives meaning to me, that when my dog barks, it's an inspired bark from something. It's a speech, it's a language, it's a way to be vocal about life, and she's doing it to be heard. Like that dog, we may all strive, but there's truly nothing to be done. If we look deeply into our lives, there's only really a thin veneer of self-gratified meaning, which is laid over an immense ocean of nothing. What we do only has meaning in the here and in the now. It will just not remain in the next instant. Just do what you can for the present and leave everything else to happen naturally. Work, wash, meditate, eat, study, urine, exercise, and sleep. Talk, listen, touch, and die each night. But then, be born again each morning. Ooh, that's pretty. I could be born again every single morning. New. I like that. Just do what you can for the present and leave everything else to happen. Gee, that's kind of like God will take care of everything and make yourself comfortable and happy like we all do. Take care of your stuff, figure out how great you are, concentrate on your competition and how much you can get that's more than the other person. And then everything else, we'll just leave it to the natural way of God. So if politics and infrastructure and systemic things that are out of our control are creating mass poverty and suffering, then if you're not one of those people suffering, just look at the suffering people and think, wow, I'm blessed and God really loves me and God is good and life is good because I get what I want. And when I look at the people that don't have what they need, I just think, wow, there must be a bigger plan. But the fact is, the plan is you, the plan is them. And if you are just concentrating on yourself and they are concentrating on themselves in a much broader way that affects many other people, then their outward harm and your lack of outward good isn't going to help the situation. So that's great that you're good inside, but there's other people that are working for their good inside by lashing outwardly, physically doing things in the real world that will change you and everybody else. So no, God's not going to take care of all the problems in the world. Much time concentrating on yourself and your own happiness and stillness and love and security and all these things, because there's actually a bigger picture that's about the sustaining us. It's a bigger picture about this ability for human beings to sustain their own life, or we could just concentrate on ourselves and head towards mass extinction. Bye! Thank you for watching. See you next time.